In this video, I'm going to be showing you the difference between habits and behaviors and why this is extremely critical for having long-term success in your goals and what you want to change in your life, okay? I'm going to be defining these two between each other. I'm also going to be showing you how to change your habits into behaviors and why that's important for long-term sustainability. Let's get to it. Hey guys, this is Amos Bilo, owner of Poscamore Christian Men's Coaching. Poscamore is a Latin word that means we are needed. Who is the we that are needed? It's strong, healthy, and disciplined Christian men who are also spiritual leaders. And who are the ones that need us? It's our wives, our children, the church, and the world. So my mission through Poscamore is to help Christian men to become healthy and disciplined so that they can focus on being the spiritual leader that their family needs. Let's get to it. First, let's define what the difference is between habits and behaviors. Before I get into that chart, I want to show you how this process works of starting as a baby and then working up into an adult and acting the way that you do. You have to understand this process. So I'm going to describe this for you. When you're born, you start from a place where you don't really know anything, right? And so all this information you're gathering, and that's forming your programming. So your environment, the people around you, what they say to you, what they do around you, how they act, what their priorities are, your situation, your friends, all that falls under there, the churches you go to. So all of this is your environment, your programming. Now from your programming, what happens is you form your belief system. Now you are always going to respond to everything around you in a way that coincides and aligns with your beliefs. Okay, so those beliefs can be something like, I'm fat. I am is usually how it starts. I am fat, okay? So if I am fat, that means that I should be embarrassed, that I eat a lot of food and that's just who I am. Right? Or if I believe that I am ugly or I am out of shape, then I am not going to go out in public. Then I'm not going to go to a gym because I want to be in shape before I go to a gym. So seeing this, you're always aligning your actions with your belief system. Okay? Now from your beliefs, if that's the case, then this is where your behaviors come from. Okay, if I say I am a lazy person and people always told me that I'm a lazy person, I'm a fat person, I don't do anything, then I'm going to, if I believe them, then I'm going to carry out that belief. Okay, so I'm just going to sit on the couch. I'm going to play video games. I'm going to watch TV instead of going to the gym, instead of going out with friends, instead of going for hikes in Arizona. Right? And so my behaviors form from those beliefs that have been given to me or that have been formed from my programming over time. Okay, so from your behaviors, obviously this is where your habits and actions come from. Okay, so habits and actions come after behaviors. Now all my habits that I do and my actions form based on my behaviors. And finally, the last one is results. So whatever I am doing in my life, that is what I'm going to get out of it. And so if I always stay inside and I believe that I'm lazy, so I watch TV and I eat a lot of food and I just sit at home and I don't work very hard, then obviously my results are not going to be that I'm making a lot of money probably. I'm not going to be in shape. I'm not going to want to go hiking. I'm not going to be a super active person. So if I want those things, but I'm not behaving in that way, that just doesn't line up. So now that you understand that, let's get into the difference between habits and behaviors and why it's so important. So as you can see, habits come after behaviors, before habits. So seeing that behaviors comes before habits, that means that the behaviors are actually what cause the habits. Okay? But I want to be showing you how to use habits to go the opposite direction and actually how to change your habits into behaviors, okay? That's not the regular process, but I can show you how to change that, and that's why it's so powerful. Habits are also short-term. They are positive or negative. Behaviors are long-term. They're also positive or negative. So when I say positive or negative, that's how people interpret the habits or behaviors. Okay, so inherently, everything that we're doing, we do for a positive intention. So really, what we are doing, we have good reasons for doing it. But then after the fact, we might look back at how lazy I am and how I'm not doing anything with my life, and I might say, wow, that's a terrible habit and behavior that I have. That's just so negative. I just have negative behaviors and I don't know how to change it. But that's not true. Maybe that's your opinion and your belief that you've been told or that you're telling yourself after the fact, but when you make that decision, you're doing it with a positive intention. So since habits are short-term and behaviors are long-term, that's also plays into how long it takes to create them. Formed quickly, and behaviors are formed over time. And then finally, speaking to how important it is to change from habits to behaviors and to understand the difference, is that with habits, you start with good habits, okay, but you have to finish with good behaviors in order for it to be long-term, sustainable change for the rest of your life. And then finally, with habits, they're usually uncomfortable because that's change that's new to you, okay, and you might have to force yourself to do it. Whereas behaviors, that is comfortable. That is your comfort zone, and that's why it's so difficult to change. Now let's talk about how to change habits into behaviors. The most important parts to remember in changing habits into behaviors is that it has to be something that you could be comfortable with, because you're changing from uncomfortable to comfortable. So comfortable, and by that I mean you have to be comfortable with the price. So what's the price that you have to pay in order to change into this habit? What's the cost of changing? So if it's smoking, the cost is that you won't be smoking anymore, right? And if you're not smoking anymore, why were you smoking? Yes, it's a bad habit, it's a negative behavior, you know that, but you enjoy it. Your positive intention is that it relaxes you, right? It takes your mind off things, it takes your stress away. Okay, so you have to find a better way to do those things. Basically, when you build these habits, it just has to be a better way of doing something with the same positive intention. But after you're done doing that habit, you're not looking back and saying, oh man, I wish I didn't do that. Man, I wish I didn't have that behavior. That's just a bad habit. Okay? You're getting rid of that part so you can move forward in life. Okay? So you have to be comfortable with the change, comfortable with the price or cost. Okay, I kind of mentioned it. You also have to enjoy it. This new habit has to be something that you can find joy from or happiness in. Because if you don't enjoy something, why the heck would you keep doing it for the rest of your life? Why would you keep going back to something that you don't enjoy? We always get what we want. We always have a positive intention. Remember that. Okay, so it has to be enjoyable. And over time, you can find more joy in it if you allow yourself to. These habits that you have also have to be self-sustaining. Self-sustaining. Now, what I mean by that is you can use support and accountability to get you started into this habit. You can use a system or a 6-week program like a diet or an exercise program. That's great. And you can form that habit. You can force yourself to do this for 6 weeks long. Okay, but if it's not self-sustaining, then how are you going to transfer it into a behavior? How are you going to change it into something that you can do for the rest of your life? So make sure that if you choose a program or if you're working on something or a habit, understand that you're going to have to get this to a place where it just sustains itself, where you're not going to have to be consciously thinking about it every single day, where you're not going to need to have a check-in from your bud all the time. It has to be something that you can sustain on your own without putting that much thought into it anymore. Okay, just a few more points. It has to be natural. So you have to get it to a point where it really doesn't seem difficult anymore. Because if it's always difficult, how much motivation do you need to always do something difficult? That's not going to be sustainable. So it has to become something natural and easy. Easy over time, or easier. You have to enjoy that process. This last one is an interesting one. You have to understand it. Understand why this is so important for you to change, how the process works, why you are doing this, why it's sustainable long term, and how it's going to impact your life over time. And so in this process, over time, your habit is going to slowly shift into a behavior. Now, once you get to a behavior again, looking at the characteristics that I showed you, it's going to be comfortable. It's going to be a lot easier. It's going to be something that you don't really think about anymore. It just becomes natural. It becomes a part of your life. And so the habit also has to fit your life. Okay? If you're totally disrupting your life in order to try this habit, then that's not sustainable either. If maybe this habit is that you have to wake up at 3 a.m. every single day, but you also have to work until midnight, then how long are you going to actually last with that habit? Now, I know it's an extreme example, but it has to fit your lifestyle. It has to fit what you like to do. Otherwise, you're going to be butting heads with yourself the entire time. And so it's not enjoyable, it's difficult, and it's not long-term. Okay, so number 3 is long-term sustainability. So I know I've already talked about how behaviors are the long-term solution versus the habits. But looking at that first timeline we did, or that first structure that we did, where you go from your programming to beliefs to behaviors, habits, actions, and results, you're seeing that there's still a couple more things. Now, programming, you can't really change that. You can change how you understand it and your perspective on it. And then beliefs, now that is what truly leads to your behaviors. Okay, so you can change your behaviors a little bit more long-term, but in the end, your beliefs are what determine what your behaviors will be for the rest of your life. And so to really achieve long-term sustainability, you have to come down to your beliefs. Your beliefs create your behaviors. And so unless we start looking at the beliefs that are holding you back, maybe there aren't any beliefs that hold you back, but if there are, that is going to be a brick wall that you cannot get through. And so you'll bounce off. You'll change your habits and your behaviors right here, and then exactly what you want is on the other side of this belief. And that belief is a brick wall that you can't get through to the other side. And so you're going to need to find someone that can talk you through what that belief is that's holding you back, where it comes from, and then show you how to shift that. Now, I can do that, and I'd love to help you as well. So if that's something you're interested in, if you feel like no matter what you try, no matter how enjoyable it is, no matter how much success you have, you end up hitting a brick wall and you keep going back to where you were if you tried these programs. So reach out to me, send me a message, and let's work on it. But don't worry about that if it's not something that's already on your mind. Focus on changing your habits into behaviors and following through on those characteristics. I hope you wrote those down, and I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for watching this video. If there's anyone else that you know that might benefit from this, please share this with them. And if you've enjoyed it, make sure to turn your notifications on or subscribe. Remember that our purpose as men on this earth is to do our best taking care of what God has blessed us with. Our bodies, our families, our jobs, our possessions, time and talents, and the wonderful grace that He's given us. And it's also our jobs to be the leader who serves as Jesus served us. Finally, we remember that we do all things to the glory of God, our Father. God bless, brothers.